Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me. Let me reviews. You know, we keep talking about sequestration. Most people don't know what it is because we're just really trying to understand it ourselves. But basically, it's just across the board cuts. Why they call it sequester? No rhyme or reason. Just something they made up. They're going to cut across the board, whether it's going to be discretionary spending and military spending. Let me just tell you what it is going to affect. We are going to cut Head Start funding, which means Head Start teachers are going to lose their jobs. We are going to put ourselves in a position where we are not going to be able to prepare our young people. This is what I call March Madness. It takes place and it takes effect on March 1st, so it's March Madness. Now, despite the fact that we have already, as a Congress, the President has cut more than $1.5 trillion from discretionary spending already this year, last year, they act like that doesn't matter. So now we're going to cut another $1.2 trillion. Now let's look at what's happening. The Congressional Budget Office, which a lot of us quote, you know, they kind of tell us where we're going to make money, lose money. It's kind of an agency that rates the actions we take in a monetary way. They have basically said to us, if we slow down the economy, we're going into a recession. So if, in fact, we do what we're talking about doing on March 1st, we're going to slow down the economy. It is estimated we're going to lose 700,000 jobs. So if you put 700,000 people in an unemployment line, you know you're going into a recession. That's just this year, 700,000 this year. So what we really need to be thinking about is why are we doing it? Why is it happening now? Now, in Ohio alone, we're talking about 40,000 jobs. 40,000. Just in this state. I heard the governor, part of his remarks last night when he was talking about all the jobs he's creating, all the wonderful things he's done. What's going to happen when we do sequester and we lose 40,000 jobs? When you talk about losing as many as 14,000 teachers and teachers assistants, when you look at just in this district, almost 500 kids getting kicked out of Head Start, just in Title County and Summit County. Title I grants are going to be cut. We're going to lose OSHA safety inspectors. We're going to lose people who inspect our food. They are already in the process of closing Social Security offices. A lot of things are happening. Now let me just be clear about this. There are some things that will not be touched. Even though we're going to lose about 4 million meals to seniors, Meals on Wheels, that's gone. But these are the things we did save from sequestration. They can't affect your Social Security. They can't affect your Medicare, your veterans benefits, or food stamps, or Pell Grants. Those are the things that we saved. So those things will not be touched, but everything else is fair game. Everything. So I just want you to understand that there are a couple of things that we should be doing. One is we need to make sure we take all of the deals we've given to the big oil and gas companies away. That's billions of dollars a year that they don't need. If you look at the price of gas, you know they don't need it. They are making more money than they have ever made. We need to make sure that people who make millions of dollars a year never pay lower taxes than their employees, their secretaries and other employees. We need to make sure that we demand deep and immediate cuts so that we can protect the people who need our help. Can you imagine, SEIU, Koch brothers are out here right now with a new scheme. They know we're so distracted about these cuts that they've decided that they're going to try to once again get back into the state houses and do away with unions. That's what they want to do.
Yes.
And so they have this new, they've started a new fund. Harriet, I don't know if you've read it. They started a new fund where they're going to be working in the state houses to do away with labor. And if they can't do away with it, they want to so reduce the power of labor that you can't fight back. And mind you, most of the jobs that are going to be lost are union jobs. When you talk about teachers, police, firefighters, people who work in the Social Security Administration, people who work in the national parks, postal service employees, and you name it. They are almost all union jobs. It is so bad, they're even starting in Social Security, they're starting to reclassify people so they can lower their wages. That's happening now. So sequestration is not good. Now the president has been talking about it. He is absolutely right. We cannot afford to continue to take care of the rich at the expense of the poor. And 1 in 2 Americans in this country today are on food stamps. 1 in 2. So we have a country where poverty is on the rise, and as a nation, we have an obligation to take care of our people. I do not agree with the changed CPI because over time, what it does is it cuts benefits. You know, they make it seem like, oh, it's not a big deal, it's not going to hurt you. But over time, it cuts benefits. And so I'm not supporting anything that cuts benefits. You know, if we look at Social Security today, even though people will make the argument, well, we need to deal with it today so it'll be solvent. Right now, Social Security is going to be solvent for the next 30 years, thereabouts. The way to make it solvent for the next 100 years is to raise the cap on Social Security. Right now, if you make up to $100,000, $110,000, I think is the amount, you pay that payroll tax for the entire amount of money you make. Anything over $110,000, you don't pay payroll tax. So people who make $1 million a year basically pay payroll tax for 1/10 of their salary. But they can still get Social Security. Where most people that I know pay payroll tax for 100% of what they earn. I don't think that that's very fair. Especially when you understand that the rich are getting richer in this country every day, and poor are getting poorer. We are losing the middle class. So I couldn't support a changed CPI positioning. Labor in Cuyahoga County is one of the largest groups of labor people in the country. Right. If we just picked a day and said next Wednesday, every member of every labor union were to send to Rob Portman a fax, an email, a text, a telephone call, a letter, you better believe he will pay attention.
Oh, most definitely.
You believe he will pay attention. You have more power than you think you have. Think about this. Just think about the numbers. In the 2012 election, just in terms of the president's election and the Congress or federal elections, $6.5 billion was spent just on campaigns. $6.5 billion. These millionaires and billionaires, they doubled down, they put as much money as they could, and then they want to sit back and say they don't want to pay another $1,000 in taxes a year, but they put $100 million into somebody's campaign. You're just the biggest hypocrites out there. So, you know, we have a lot of issues we need to fight, but one of the things that I'm always going to fight is for people who are in need. Because people who really aren't in need, as a general rule, don't need me.
Amen.
We fight for the people who cannot fight for themselves. We're the voice for people who have no voice. But you can be a huge voice. I'm telling you, don't let them take you down right now. Unions are all we got. It's the only reason we even have a decent wage. It's the only reason we have vacation pay. It's the only reason we have safe working conditions under most circumstances. It's the only reason you just can't be fired because they want to fire you, or that you can take off when your child or your parent or somebody is sick. That's why we have all of that. That's why we got a 5-day work week. You know, I work 7 days a week, but we got a 5-day work week. Unions are the reason that we are where we are today. I gave a speech on a Sunday in the church, this past Sunday. A guy comes up to me and says, why should we raise the minimum wage to $9? I said to him, I said, don't you believe in people getting a living wage? I'm in church. He says, well, I believe in the free market. So you should just be able to pay anybody anything you want to pay them? He said, yeah. Now, so we going back to sweatshops? Now here we live in a country where we give some of the richest corporations in the world tax breaks, oil people, where we pay farmers for not growing crops, where we do a whole lot of things. We protect them when they have a bad year. And then they say they don't want people to make a living wage. See, something's wrong with that picture. I was in church, so I couldn't say what I really wanted to say. But I want to pray for you. I'll pray for you. Thank you all so much.